Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tuck's Virtual Summit on AgTech Pitch Competition Finals. This is our third year hosting the summit, and this year is the first time we are introducing the pitch competition. So we're really excited to continue expanding the summit, and today we have four incredible entrepreneurs with awesome ideas and solutions, and I'm just excited to dive into their pitches. Before we get going, I just want to quickly run through some housekeeping items. The first is timing, so the pitches will be 5 minutes long, and then we'll have 7 minutes of Q&A, and then we'll quickly switch to the next pitch. The second is that the audience is encouraged to pose questions via the Ask a Question feature. We probably won't have time for them here, but the entrepreneurs will love to hear what you're all curious about. And third is the prizes. So the first place prize wins a cash prize of $2,500, as well as one-on-one time with VCs and entrepreneurs that we've lined up, which include Crosslink Capital, Cultivian Sandbox, Falcon Ventures, 3x5 Ventures, and others. And we also have an Audience Choice Award for $500. So while the judges are deliberating, at the end, we will launch a poll, and you, the audience, will vote for whoever you think gave the best pitch. And the winner gets $500. So with that out of the way, it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed judges for today. We have Brett Brohl, Managing Director, Techstars Farm to Fork. Partnered with Cargill and Ecolab, Techstars is looking for the best entrepreneurs across the entire food value chain, from ag tech, manufacturing, supply chains, to food safety, waste reduction, and traceability. We also have Mark Brooks, who is the investment manager at Syngenta Ventures. Syngenta is the corporate VC team of Syngenta and is a leading agricultural company helping to improve global food security by enabling farmers to make better use of available resources. We also have Natalie Sira, advisor at Regen Ventures. Regen is an early stage venture capital fund that invests in transformational companies created by visionary entrepreneurs who are committed to creating a regenerative and better future. We also have Kelly James, founder and CEO of Mercaris. Mercaris provides up-to-date, accurate information on market conditions for organic and non-GMO commodities, and their trading platform allows buyers and sellers to meet online to trade physical commodities. So, thank you, judges, for being here, and without further ado, let's get going. So the first pitch is Agri, and okay. All right. I'll start judging panel. All right, so the first pitch is Agri. I'm going to turn off my video. Isuke, feel free to start as soon as you're ready.
Hello, everyone. Let me share. Is saying we have a limit of simultaneous video resources, 6 screens only. Let's see.
How's that now?
Still doing the same message, Tommy. Let me try again. Hello, Tobin, still getting the same message. Too many video resources. The streaming is limited to 6 simultaneous video sources.
Okay, all right. How about trying just a quick sec, I'll drop out.
Okay. Oh, I was going. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for the patience, everybody. My name is Isaac, CEO and co-founder of Agri, and I am here today to share our incredible journey to solve a real and global problem on the agri business. Maybe not everybody knows, but we have today a situation where the food supply requests are growing and our finance for support farmers is going down, even in US. This is our numbers, for example, from the Fed, for the Federal Reserve. In the last 5 years, a 30% reduction in this 100 major companies financing, the banks financing agribusiness. It's astonishing, the situation all over the globe. The problem is most of the financial institutions don't have good ways to underwrite and understand risks on the farmer and farm side, land, yield, weather, and everything which it's around their lending and their insurance. And that is the major constraint for the space. To solve that problem, Agri developed a proprietary technology which combine over 500 in different variables from satellite data, weather, and others to receive a request from the bank and provide the last 21 years history of any place on earth back in the hands of the people who need to decide a loan, insurance, or a trade finance contract, and they have the way to underwrite in a proper way their operation. We help the institutions, as I said, in lending, in insurance, and environmental services and trade finance. These are the biggest parts of the financial sector in the agribusiness. And how this works, for example, in ag lending, let's say a bank submit a request from the farmer, we receive, we process everything, as I said before, and we deliver in the hands of the decision maker, the loan officer, for example, the ability to underwrite. If they decide it's a good place for a loan, they will move forward and they keep monitoring after the post-funding. That means they can manage the risk in the micro level, and not only that, with this structure, Agri can help them monitor and manage their entire portfolio. Doesn't matter if it's global or not. We have service in South and North America today, and Africa, and we can manage other regions too. They can manage the great United States and their operations there, the greatest Iowa state, the beautiful Franklin County, and they can help the farmer in that county to feed the world. To keep moving further, Agri is raising our seed round at the $2.5 million to keep pushing and further developing our product, establish a better resource for serve the financial providers, and move to the next level after we build this entire ecosystem and have an entire pipeline of clients from flagship in different regions on the planet. So if you are concerned about the future of sustainable lending, sustainable trade finance, and all the ecosystem in agribusiness, and how can we feed 10 billion people very soon in the coming years, join Agri, and we will solve this problem together. Thank you so much.
And thanks for that pitch. This is Mark Brooks from Syngenta Group Ventures. So, question on the lending piece: Are you actually doing the lending yourself, or are you calculating sort of the credit scoring and all the data gathering and stuff in order for a bank or other lender to make a more informed decision? And if it is the second piece, can you talk a bit about the IP? Like, what is special about your process and your way of doing that that the bank can't do?
Yes, exactly. So we don't serve directly farmers. We serve the institutions which can serve better the farmers. And to do so, we develop all the engine with modeling, data validation, data integrity measures, and some other things which I will not talk here live to not be recorded. We can discuss further in a one-to-one call. But with that, we can manage to have proper credit scoring, risk assessment, very simple things. How many crop seasons this farm have in the last 21 years? What's the yield in each year? What is the condition of the place? How much of the crop field they use it? They are saying they have soybeans, but in fact, they don't have soybeans the last 10 years. All these type of measures, we can de-risk the operation for financial providers. Because major problem in our space today, the banks are moving away from agri-finance, especially because it's becoming a gap of understanding what they do in the derivatives markets, in the equity, for example, and what they need to do in the ag-finance. It's a completely different business. As they don't have proper tools, they move away, and this is a big problem happening all over the place. Our IP is entirely developing in-house, and this is a part where I will stop from here, but we can discuss further.
Do you have any unique data sources that you're pulling, or are you pulling all publicly available data?
It's a combination of private, public, things we generate ourselves, and some from the client base on the banking side.
And Isaac, how do you incentivize farmers to provide you with yield data and other information that you need from kind of the on-the-farm operators? How do you incentivize them to provide that information to you?
Yeah, at this point, we generate all the yields and everything else because we model the behavior of crops with our training samples to then be able to help the institutions to underwrite and monitor their operations. So our goal is to, down the road, to have some other services, maybe with partners, to bring more farmer management type of information. For this leg of our services, not a necessity, let's say, in this way, because we're addressing the major concern is what is happening on the institution side.
Question for you about, you may not have all these data points yet, but are you providing interpretation of what you're gathering on farm, or you're providing the raw data and the banks will feed that into their own risk?
Ready to use information which they can take a look in 2 minutes, decide their process. The goal here is to help the back office of the banks and the insurance company, the trade finance, the cooperative banks, the community bank, the people who don't have time to be traveling to the field and going back and doing all this process.
Let's take something fairly well understood, like if you're getting yield data off a farm, are you giving some sort of opinion as to whether this is a good yield, an average yield, or a poor yield, or you're just saying, here's the yield data, you do with it what you like?
Exactly this way. We deliver the information, but we don't have an opinion about. There are some regulation questions about that, so that's the approach for this time. Let's say.
Sure. Thank you.
And are you, excuse me, are you, sorry, the two questions. Tell us about your traction, like how many customers have you got, how many loans you've actually facilitated. And the second question is, of those that you have facilitated, how does the risk profile of those look to the typical risk profile that the lender would have? In other words, what's the default rate, what's the payment rate compared to what they would otherwise be lending out?
We are in a first commercial year now, after 2020, building everything, testing with some clients and adjusting everything. So we have clients now in Brazil, in South America, and starting in Africa too, and trade finance, which are not, they are based in UK, but they are operating globally. So it's a bit different type of analysis, because it's basically validating when they are shipping something, if their production is sustainable, there are no deforestation and all these problems we know that are all over the place. So in this first wave, we have 3 clients already. So it's all enterprise clients. It's not the average SaaS contract, let's say it's a bit bigger, but we have a huge list of clients in the onboarding phase. And that's why we are raising our seed round. We need to improve the team, but it has more support and all this type of things to catch up with the demand. So we have today more than 14 on the different phases on the funnel for the onboarding side. There's a problem. It's a real problem, as I show in the presentation. Even US, Canada, we have a huge presence now, and will be worse because the banks are running out of the sector. That's the problem.
I think we're at time. I know our moderator had to pop off, but I think that we're at time. Appreciate the presentation, Isaac. It was really nice meeting you. Really great hearing about what you're up to. And we'll let you jump out now.
Thank you so much.
You gotta get the video.
Where's the video?
Go there. Turn the video on.
Go
We good?
Yep.
All right. Hey, good evening. I'm Ben Johnson, Chief Innovation Officer of Weevil Corporation, and we are a father-son robot company that builds grain bin safety and management robots. A couple of years ago, our friend Zach challenged us to build him a robot so neither he nor his sons would ever have to go into a grain bin again. Grain bins are hot, dirty, and dangerous workplaces. To adequately manage stored grain, farmers are exposed to potential falls, entrapments, auger entanglements, and long-term conditions such as farmer's lung. Grain needs to be managed during the entire storage process, and a farmer with a shovel has always been the best solution. Unfortunately, this led to 20 entrapment deaths in 2019 alone. Even worse, 1 out of every 5 grain bin accidents are teenage boys. So how is the industry addressing this problem now? Well, as we have mentioned, a farmer with a shovel and a can-do attitude is the most common answer. Other solutions include extremely heavy equipment that is either boomed into the grain bin or permanently attached to every bin. This approach is expensive, not flexible, and it still leaves the farmer with a few reasons to enter a bin. We have created a robot that we feel can not only keep farmers out of the grain bin, but fundamentally change how grain bins are managed. The Weevil addresses storage challenges by working smarter, not harder. It scurries across the top of the grain using auger-based propulsion. By doing this, it reduces the viscosity of the grain, which lets gravity do the rest of the work, smoothing out walls of grain and breaking up crusts and bridges. It's lightweight, portable, and powerful of a farmer with a shovel. Farmers identify working in the grain bin as one of the worst jobs on the farm. The Weevil addresses 2 big issues that grain farmers face today: grain bin safety and managing the quality of stored grain. The Weevil is impacting the quality of stored grain and farmer well-being by controlling costs, controlling risks, and removing the farmer from the bin. Our main focus is on the farm storage, which includes over 440,000 farms with permanent grain storage. With over 1 million grain bins in the US alone and farmers spending a minimum of $400 million in storage costs per month, there is a definite need for the Weevil. We have also explored potential industrial markets and are finding even more use cases for the Weevil. As you can see, our company sits within 500 miles of 70% of the total on-the-farm grain storage in the United States, which gives us a competitive advantage. We have 3 steps in our get-to-the-farm market strategy. The first is getting the robot technically ready for the farm, followed by our go-to-market sales strategy, and then our service model. The on-the-farm storage industry is booming, and we think that within the next 5 to 7 years, nearly every farmer in the country will adopt some sort of advanced grain bin management. This May, we will begin our on-the-farm trials, testing the robot on different grains and conditions, finding a new network of farmers and strategic partners, getting help to de-risk our technical challenges, and quantifying our impact on grain storage costs. Currently, our target price for each robot is just under $4,000. We will begin sales through our own direct efforts while we build up a network of independent sales reps. After strategically working with a few early access farmers, our initial target market is to reach 10% of farms with corn and soybeans in a 6-state area within 5 years. With the advice of farmers, we have created our robots as a service model. To help ensure that the farmer gets the maximum benefit of a grain bin robot, they will subscribe to a service that covers maintenance. It'll give them remote access to data and operating capabilities, send them alerts from the robot, allow for third-party sensor integration, and unlock new features like swarming, and they'll get over-the-air updates with those new features. We will utilize local independent service reps to always be there when the farmer needs us. This also provides us with a recurring revenue stream.
Hey, Chad.
Yes.
This is Natalie, one of the judges. You're doing a fantastic job. We just wanted to let you know that your slides aren't showing. I don't know if you wanted to pull those up.
Oh, goodness.
We
shared the screen.
I actually might say too that I think it might be good to jump into Q&A at this point as well, just because I think we're running a little bit long on the pitch.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I gave us the same thing about video sources. Sorry. Okay, let's jump in
No,
then.
no worries.
Well, so I'll start with a question. So this grain weevil thing, I mean, is all this thing doing just sort of trolling around the top of the bin and spreading things out? What data is it collecting, if any? I'm trying to just understand the real thing beyond smoothing the grain out.
Yeah, so it has a sensor package on it. We can collect surface temperature. We can collect atmospheric like temperature, humidity, CO2. We have a camera system that'll be observing the quality of the grain. And then we also we have the IMU to measure slopes and angles and all of the components of that. And also working on actually being able to measure different current draws as you go through different types of grain. So like you got a hard, moist area, or you have the high quality grain, we'll be able to tell that as well.
And to explain a little bit more about what it does, grain bins are currently not really being managed very well by the farmer. So a few of the tasks that we're attempting to solve is very simply leveling the bin so that you can store more grain and so you can more evenly aerate your grain and dry it out. And then we're helping with extraction efficiency, so smoothing out those giant walls of grain as you're taking the grain out to sell it, as well as feeding the sweep auger when you're doing that as well. And so those are just some of the tasks that we're able to complete inside of the grain bin.
On your go-to-market strategy, have you thought much, or where does it feature in your plans to work with some of the smart sensor, grain bin sensor companies or products out there, or how do you fit into that?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the processes, the ability to integrate with third-party systems, so that as the rope sensors indicate that there's a temperature change somewhere, we can actually then go and manipulate that area, and we'll be able to actually address the issues and the problems. Keep asking questions. Ben will answer some. I'll see if I can share my screen real quick. It's too many video sources again. I think it's the same problem. So yeah, we hope to be able to.
How many of these things exist?
How many robots exist? Or
yeah, how many have you deployed or sold?
Yeah, so we have our one working prototype. That's right back here. We'll have 6 more here by the end of May through a prototyping grant, and then we have 6 on the farm trials set up that will start here in Nebraska in May. In June, we'll be in Tennessee and Iowa on 6 farms. So that's really our big stage we're at right now, is that proving out the use cases and quantifying our impact.
What has the feedback been from farmers? Has there been kind of any barriers communicated consistently across farmers that you anticipate kind of being a bit of a headwind?
Yeah, so the biggest question is obviously we're not tethered, so we need the mobility to do the tasks that we want to do. So they want to know what happens if it gets buried. They want to know how long the battery lasts, and we do have an in the bin charging capability. So most of it is when can we get one? Because I never want to go into a grain bin again. That's definitely a job that they would like to no longer have to do.
You mentioned that I think you said $400 million is spent on grain storage annually, is what you said. Do you have any?
It's actually more than that. So in the 13.5 billion bushels that are stored on a farm, the minimum cost per month is about 3 cents. So that's about $400 million a month nationwide spent on storage expenses.
Do you have any idea how much is spent on labor to do what the robot does, not on the storage itself?
Right. So what we're mapping out in the trials are the entire workflows, which include the labor inputs. There are actually 7 inputs into the cost of grain storage, labor being one, aeration and drying costs. So we will be quantifying each one of those through our summer trials.
Got it. And I think we might have time for one more question if anybody else has anyone, and then we got to jump to the next one.
just in terms of maintenance fees, I'm just curious, what are the anticipated maintenance fees for the robot? Are they costly?
Actually, no. So we've intentionally made this robot to be very simple and very easily repaired, knowing full well that building a robot that can live for 10 years inside of a grain bin is not very likely. So we've intentionally designed it to be what we call semi-industrial. So in a 5-year time period, we fully expect to replace the robot completely one time within that 5-year period.
And that's built into the service model.
Yep.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for the presentation. It was good to learn a little bit more about it.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. And I'm now going to share my screen. Oh.
Yep, we can hear you perfectly.
Good to hear. Okay. It doesn't let me share my screen for some reason. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I really hope you can. So good afternoon, good evening to everybody, and thank you for coming today to see our pitch. We are Seges Ag, and we are here to show you the future of seed priming with our product called ActiPrime. We are a company based in the Kansas City metro area, and we were started with the mission to create innovative solutions to agriculture-related challenges. The team is made up by me and my colleague, Renel Anthony. Combined, we have more than 30 years of experience in agriculture. We have several papers in peer-reviewed journals published, patents that have been filed, as well as products that have been launched. What's our proposal? We have developed a novel technology to do 3 things: eliminate seed-borne organisms from seed, increase chemistry's efficacy, and that is pesticides as well as nutrients, and enhance seed germination and emergence. What are seed-borne organisms? These are different microbes that can cause the seed to not germinate well or to cause problems in the future. How does this work? ActiPrime works by combining physical, chemical, and biological techniques to eliminate these seed-borne organisms. We can discuss more after signing an MTA, so we'll be happy to share more information about that. So how do we want to use this technology? We want to use it to do 3 things. 1 is to eliminate seed-borne organisms, 2 is to increase the efficiency of chemistry, and 3 is to enhance the seed germination, emergence, and vigor of the planted crops. I'm going to use an example of Fusarium proliferatum on maize. So I want to start by saying that Fusarium, it's not really a big deal in corn. It's just very easy to study organism because corn is a very dirty seed. So we start with a contaminated seed. That contaminated seed is going to make spores. Those spores disperse. They go to the silk. They go to different wounds and openings of the plant, and they have the potential to generate different issues, such as grain mold, stalk rot, and the same is true for other organisms with other crops. So like I said before, we offer 3 different solutions: seed disinfection, enhanced germination and vigor, and better use of chemistries applied to the seed. We have tried numerous combinations to do that, and we have been able to find one that worked for us. You can see that in some of these cases, we still had some fungi growing out of the seed. Finally, we were able to find one treatment that had comparable germination and even better germination and vigor to the control with 0% infection. We did further test it and proved the preliminary results. And we also tested that on tomatoes. And we were able to find that the germination and vigor of tomato seed that was newly germinated was better compared to the untreated control. Conclusions. We offer 3 solutions, like I mentioned at the beginning. One is complete seed disinfection. The second one is enhanced germination and vigor. And the third one is the better use of added chemistries, nutrients, biostimulants, and growth regulators. So what is next for us? We are currently looking for funding so we can do large-scale greenhouse and field trials of the technology that we have developed, which is the future of seed priming. With that, I want to thank you for your time, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Question for you about sort of timing until it's ready, commercially viable. When do you anticipate the first ability to sell commercially?
That is a very good question. And we would feel comfortable selling after doing at least 1 round of field trials or at least greenhouse trials, so we can be able to monitor the results that we are being able to get in the field compared to what we've seen in plate. I don't have the prototype of what our Active Prime solution looks like the previous competitor did, but I do have some plates here, and they're still looking good comparing the presence of seed-borne organisms to not seed-borne organisms. So we are very positive about how soon this can be deployed to be used in the market.
What do you think your go-to-market strategy will be once you're ready? Like, how are you selling? How do you think you're going to sell?
So we actually had 3 different ways that we went to market. One of them is the potential of licensing.
Yeah, is that? Go ahead.
Yes. So we can license the technology. We can keep it as a trade secret and just do it ourselves, or we can do a hybrid of those 2 different strategies.
Yeah, so I understand like the different opportunities. Like, what do you think your go-to-market is going to be, right? Like, what is the game plan? Like, those are the same go-to-market strategies anybody in your shoes could potentially go down. Like, what are you going to do?
So we have filed a provisional patent. So as to right now, we feel that the best way to go to market would be licensing the technology to different companies. I used to be a seed health scientist with Monsanto when it was still Monsanto. And I know the big issue that seed-borne organisms can be in vegetable seed. There is 300 million acres of farmland in the United States. So obviously we cannot do all of them, even if we were covering 1% of all the farmland. So licensing would be the best way of reaching the market and reaching the customer needs.
Are you able to provide an estimate at all around the savings or reduction in need for the synthetic kind of fungicides and pesticides and whatnot through using your application?
We have not been able to do that, and that's a very good question. And that's actually something that we have planned for doing in the large-scale greenhouse trials as well as the field trials, because in those settings, we can actually test the different doses or rates that we applied of these different chemistries and see how our technology can reduce that, as well as improve the germination vigor, potentially increasing the yield, and also reduce the amount of seed-borne diseases.
And is your solution able to be used by organic growers, or is this appropriate for conventional farmers only?
It can also be used by organic growers. We have a solution that goes with it that it's called ActiServe, that it can also be made for organic needs.
If the plan is to license technology out, what's the big vision here? Like, how are you going to take over the world with this?
No, that is a good question. And I think the vision for what we want to do, how we want to take over the world, is to show the different growers, farmers, industry, what our technology can do, either by reducing the seed-borne incidence of pathogens or by increasing the yield of the different crops, or even by reducing the rates of different chemistries that are needed to be used because of the enhanced efficacy of its use. Obviously, for that, we need a lot of hard data. I know that growers won't believe if I show plates, and that's why we are desperately looking for the funding to be able to do these field and greenhouse trials. We believe that after that, really the world is ours, because the seed priming technology has not really changed in the last decade or so, or a couple decades. So we are offering an improvement to that can really benefit growers and farmers and industry as well.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the team right now? So it's you, and I noticed your team slide. You had a co-founder working with you. What are like the unique skill sets that you have that make you the right ones to build this company?
Yes, good question. So I have over 15 years of experience in agriculture. I come from an agricultural background. I'm originally from Peru, and we have mango plantations or mango hectares in there. I have an advanced degree in plant pathology, and I also have a certified crop advisor license. So I am very much hands-on person. My colleague has experience with formulation as well as bioengineering for the development of different prototypes. He has a background in mechanical engineering as well as bioengineering. And we believe that our different skills can bring together the development of what we have seen. It's ActiPrime. So I think ActiPrime, if you were to see how it performs, you would see that our skill set together can really be very, very good.
Thanks, Andres. We're at time for your presentation. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for walking us through what you're up to. Look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, I think we're ready and we can see your screen whenever you are.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, Mike. No problem. Hi, my name is Christine White, and I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Spornado, an early alert system for crop disease that is changing the way fungicides are used. So the co-founders and I had been on the cutting edge of indoor air sampling for many years when we received a request from a crop protection company that was looking for a simple air sampler that farmers could use outdoors. We were shocked to find there wasn't one, so we designed the spornado. Word spread fast. Globally, fungal diseases cost the ag industry a ton of money. 13 billion are spent on fungicides, and there are still 60 billion lost to fungal disease. Yet, growers don't know when disease is in the air until they see it, and it's too late. And because fungicides must be used preventatively, timing is everything. So how are spray decisions currently being made? Well, it's not as data-driven as it could be. There's a lot of guesswork involved. Weather modeling, experience, and some scouting is really all that's available. And this guesswork can result in ineffective and unnecessary spraying. It has also led to diseases becoming more and more resistant to fungicides, but that can be slowed with more targeted use. And that's where Spornado comes in. Our solution is easy to use and affordable. It's an air sampler that is powered only by wind. It holds a cassette that collects airborne fungal disease, which is couriered to a local partner lab for highly sensitive DNA analysis. Results are then reported back to the farmer via text or email within 24 hours. The same equipment can be used for any crop, any fungal disease, only the test in the lab needs to change. We've also validated in-field tests using portable equipment. And unique to Spornado, we can also test for pesticide resistance. So basically, Spornado detects plant diseases in the air long before they affect crops, removing guesswork and allowing farmers to spray precisely, which can increase yields and reduce pesticide use, which is beneficial for both the farmer's bottom line and our environment. So while virtually any farmer that sprays can be our customer, initial demand has been from crops with high disease pressure, like potato and wheat, as well as growers struggling with resistance to pesticides and loss to chemistry, such as grapes and berries. We are now heading into our 4th season of commercialization. We've gone from 1 crop to around 10. Customer retention is 95%, and we now have around 400 samplers deployed. We create value for users when sprays and crops are saved. We've evolved to a subscription-based model, which ranges from around $4 to $16 an acre, depending on the crop and the disease, giving at least a 2 to 5 times ROI when saving just 1 spray a season. And this doesn't even account for saved yield. Our go-to-market strategy includes teaming up with local ag labs to create a network of licensed labs. Crop consultants and retailers are channel partners distributing the system. An independent validation is conducted by academic, government, and industry researchers. And here are just a few of them, prominent names in agriculture. Our current customers cover a variety of crops, from potato, canola, and wheat. Farmers are telling us they can choose and time their sprays precisely with Spornado. And this is the team that has gotten us here. Combined, our business, technical, and agronomy experience provides a strong foundation for our company, along with an advisory board made up of farmers, crop protection, and retail professionals. Some of our objectives over the next 5 years include Spornado and all major crops in North America. Here are the ones with existing commercial sales, and these are crops we're planning trials in next. We will deploy our on-site testing technology, which is already being validated, and we'll continue R&D with point collection analysis. And we know it's all about the data. Through our online results portal, the data we compile and modeling developed will change the way diseases predicted and fungicides are used. We are currently raising $600,000 for 18 to 24 months of funding. Expanding into new crops via trials is one of our key milestones during this period. The other is deploying Spornados in crops we've already validated in. The timing for this technology is now. There is massive market opportunity. Our tech is low cost, proven, and ready to go. We look forward to the day every farmer across the globe can make data-driven fungicide decisions to prevent disease more sustainably while producing the much-needed crops to feed us all. Spornado is making this a reality.
question this is Mark from Syngenta Group Ventures. Nice presentation, Christine. Thank you. Tell me more about the process for getting results from the spornados. Like how do I know to check it? How do I know when to check it? Who do I send it to? Just tell me about that experience and that process and the timeliness of it.
Absolutely. So a farmer's representative, such as an agronomist or somebody on the farm, would collect the samples at regular intervals. Now, this depends on the crop. So for something like potato, they're doing it twice a week. It's a very explosive, devastating disease. So as you know, late blight, so you want to collect the data regularly. A crop like canola, where there's only an issue for a couple of weeks a year during the susceptible flowering period, they'll be collected maybe up to 3 times a week. So it is crop dependent and disease dependent. The sample's couriered to a lab, a licensed lab that's part of a QA/QC system, and it undergoes simple qPCR DNA analysis.
Can you tell me, as a non-agronomist, does your tool, does it depend on what the neighbors are doing, or is it more effective the more of these are deployed in a general region, or it's fine to do it a single field by field?
The recommendation, the nice thing is, due to its low cost, is it can provide farm by farm information. You know, we recommend around 1 per 100 acres or so. So you can know what is impacting your particular fields.
And how is this better than modeling, right? I mean, there's a lot of research here on, and I'm very familiar with a lot of research on, you know, modeling and in terms of, you know, what specific temperature thresholds and relative humidity thresholds and so on and so forth drive these pressures. So help us understand, like, how is this better at getting insights than, you know, your traditional modeling approach would be?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just basically filling out that last corner of the disease triangle. And currently, so that's, you know, the pathogen, that's what we're filling out, the conditions and the host. Right now, modeling assumes that the pathogen is there. It looks at the temperature, humidity, and information like that to decide when it's at full risk. So this adds that extra layer of precision. An example I can give, University of Guelph is doing a study, and in their first year, what they found is with the spore sampling with spornado, the model blight cast, you know, said that, okay, as of July 1st, you're at high risk. But the interesting thing was we didn't actually find any spores in the air for another at least 3 weeks. So that brings that window in tighter.
Is there any concern around, I believe you said it's wind powered?
Mm-hmm.
Does weather have any huge effect on the effectiveness of the results if it doesn't receive enough wind?
Well, so the interesting thing is the diseases also depend on the wind, you know, so that you're right. If it wasn't windy for like an entire week, we wouldn't collect as much DNA. However, that also means that the spores aren't being, you know, mixed around as much as well. So
you'd said, just one last quick question. You'd said you have 95% customer retention, which is fantastic. What has the negative feedback been, or the concerns?
Definitely that it's not 100% automated. You know, we would love to. We're doing R&D into that, but molecular analysis is very difficult to do in fields and doing it cost effectively. So yeah, that's been the feedback.
Have you actually been able to change the way are the farmers that are using it right now, are they just testing it and you're collecting data, or are you actually changing the way they work or changing the way they spray? So which I've seen a lot of companies that like do something and they get some sample data, but the farmer doesn't actually change the way they work or harvest or spray or fill in the blank of whatever they do. Have you changed that behavior yet?
I hope so. We're getting feedback, yes, that, you know, they're getting confidence that, hey, you know, I can see, like I got feedback from a farmer. He's like, oh, I got a positive. So I put down my light specific fungicide. The next week I got a negative, and then, I was good the rest of the season. So we are getting that feedback, but just as importantly, it's also, they're feeling like they're giving us the feedback that they feel like they're timing it better, so they're going to spray, but they're spraying at the most ideal point.
Well, and as a follow-up to that question, are they complementing this with other decision support tools, or are they using your thing in isolation?
No, not at all. It's just one piece of the puzzle. It's still very heavily dependent on weather as well.
And then I guess like another follow-up to the same line of question is you showed like a value, like a ROI, like a value prop, right, slide. Is that like projected, or have you validated that? Because, if the farmers haven't followed through all the way, or is that still kind of what you think is the value prop?
It's anecdotal, so farmer feedback. We're very fortunate. University here in Canada is doing a study looking at that, where they're actually making decisions and comparing what it would be if they just use weather models and such. So we'll have more quantitative data.
Got it. I think we're at the end of time now, everyone. Christine, really appreciate your presentation. It was really nice getting to learn a little bit more about spornado.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all. A huge, huge thank you to all the entrepreneurs, amazing pitches. As we take a brief pause before announcing the winner, judges, as a gentle reminder, please upload your score to the online form and we'll announce the winner shortly. And feel free to kind of go off video as you deliberate if you'd like. And in the meantime, I will launch the audience poll momentarily, so everyone in the audience is encouraged to vote. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Thanks, everybody.
You're on mute. Can't hear you. Oh,
Thank you.
no worries.
Excellent. Just as a quick plug to make sure we get all the audience votes, please, at the bottom center, there's a little polls button. Click there and then vote for the Audience Choice Award. We'll just give it a quick sec. All right, looks like we've got some good votes coming in. Okay. All right, I'm going to announce the overall pitch competition winner first, as we seem to have some continued votes coming in for the Audience Choice Award. So, drum roll, the winner of the 2021 Tuck Virtual Summit on AgTech pitch competition is Spornado. Very exciting. Congrats. Excellent pitch, Christine, and super excited to be working with you for the judges and for the prizes, for the one-on-ones with VCs and entrepreneurs. So we'll be in touch with you about that. It's very exciting. It was a tight scorecard. So well done on all parts. And it looks like we have a winner for the Audience Choice Award, which is Weevil. Congrats. Very exciting for the $500 Audience Choice Award for that. So thank you to all of the entrepreneurs. Amazing pitches. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited that we had such a great lineup of both pitchers and judges. The winners are well deserved, and just as a final huge thank you to all the judges and everyone in the audience who participated and joined this fun event. This was great. So excellent inaugural pitch competition, and stay tuned for our closing remarks in just a few minutes. Thanks, everybody. Take care.